Okay, so in this video we are going to focus on chapter number 2. In the previous two videos we focused on chapter number 1, that was introduction. So for the viewers who are joining this series for the first time, who have come across my YouTube channel for the first time, this is a book that we are reading and we are trying to establish some of uh, inconvenient truths that were conveniently brushed under the carpet so that people from a certain community would not feel bad. Having said that, I would like to say, I would like to add a caveat over here that largely the masses were unaware about what the elites of their religion were doing. But regardless, let's look at some uncomfortable, inconvenient truths of history that were hidden. So, in the first two videos, we have established that the partition and the painful vivification of our holy land of Bharat that was materialized by the British on the pretext of two nation theory. I would like to think it was given out by public consumption because I would say that not a lot of people were literate about what were the happenings or what was going on internationally, globally, all across this world. And in the interim period between World War One, World War Two, there were drastic changes that were made. So essentially, we can make this statement that post World War II, it was Christianity that managed to overpower the Muslim world, because the Muslims, they were not able to make their inroads within the interior parts of Europe, although they are succeeding at it right now. But at that time, during the 1940s, 1930s, they were not able to do so. Right now, that the Ottoman Caliphate, that is Turkey. Turkey was one country that was looked up to by the Muslims. It was looked up to with pride that we are Muslims and we have a nation state all to ourselves. So it was a matter of pride for them. But after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, after the fall of the Ottoman Caliphate, the symbolic head, a country specifically for Islam, had fallen, had been secularized, democracy was practiced over there. Now they needed one more country, but the Christians weren't going to let them have a land in their part of the world. Now, since it was convenient, okay, in 47, since the British had planned to leave, it was convenient for them to grant a piece of land from our holy land because they had nothing to do with it and it was far away from their European borders. So they materialized a plan. All right, let's give them a land that is not ours to begin with. Okay, so after the fall of Turkey, they needed a nation state. Muslims needed a nation state specifically for Islam. So now Pakistan was going to materialize. Now, how exactly were they going to do? This is chapter number 2 from the book of Creating a New Medina that was written by Venkat Dulipala. I would recommend you read this whole book. It is an amazing academic study. But let's look at some of the quotations that I have highlighted for you guys to learn, for you guys to understand what went on in the making of Pakistan. Now, the title of this chapter is Muslim Mass Contacts and the Rise of Muslim League. Now, the key word over here is mass contacts. Once that idea or the plan has been hatched, you need people supporting that idea. Now, how do you gather around support for an idea? You make mass contacts. You let people know about their idea. You give them some reason to believe in that idea. And voila, you have mass support for those ideas. Let's look at some quote from this book itself. I think I have underlined some of them. You please go through this book. I mean, Venkat Dulipala has done a tremendous work of bringing these things out in the open, but I don't know, for whatever reasons we don't study these books. Some of the authors have been permanently sidelined. People don't even know who Yadunath Sarkar is, who Sitaram Goel is, who Meenakshi Jain is. But thanks to Sai Deepak, I was introduced through to these authors. In fact, this book was recommended by him. All right, fine. So here, if you look at this highlighted quote, the Vardha scheme. Vardha scheme was an educational scheme that was based largely on philosophy of Gandhi at that time. I think it came out in 1937, somewhere in 1930s. So it was Varda scheme. It focused or it stressed upon education based on vernacular language, craft based education, and teaching unity of all religions. That was the central tenet of Varda scheme. In fact, it promoted harmony, it promoted non-violence at that time. All right. Now, the simple fact that the Muslims opposed it, and they have given specific, explicit reasons as to why they opposed the Varda scheme. You don't need to take my word for it. I'm going to present some evidence from this book itself. Okay, so yes, the Varda scheme was endorsed at the Haripura Congress session, which further recommended setting up of an education board. Okay, so basically it was something like NCERT that we have right now, National Council of Education, Research and Training. So Varda scheme uh, made some recommendations about changing the way education is imparted and practiced and so on and so forth. It was charged with the responsibility of preparing textbooks, chalking out specific plans for each province, setting up teacher training schools, testing the existing syllabus, suggesting improvements for the future, and so on and so forth. So that was Varda scheme. Now, who opposed it? Let's see. Now, if you look at the yellow part that I've highlighted, the Varda scheme attracted criticism from many quarters, but the strongest criticism came from the Muslim League. Obviously, the Muslim League were going to oppose it. Why were they going to oppose it? And they have minced no words. They were very clear about why they were opposing the Varda scheme. So let's see. The Raja of Pirpur, a Shia landlord from Uttar Pradesh, he was the one. There was a Pirpur committee. They came out with a report criticizing the Varda scheme. Okay, so to assess its implications for the education of Muslim boys and girls, its report charged the Congress with trying to convert Muslim youth to its own ideology. So what they think was the Varda scheme was a conspiracy by the Congress party, and they were trying to convert the Muslim youth to their ideology as if Congress was a religion. Okay, and attempting to wipe out distinct identity of Indian Muslims. Okay. Here, if you look at what I have highlighted in pink, moreover, it argued that non-violence did not symbolize the final truth for Muslims. Because at that time, I think Gandhi was somebody who was preaching non-violence a lot. I myself, personally, I do not agree with Gandhi. Okay, for me, he was simply a shrewd politician. So here, this is what the Muslims had to say about Gandhi's plans for education. They said, no, you should believe in non-violence. We don't believe in non-violence. And was contrary to the principle of jihad that was obligatory for them under certain conditions. Okay, so it's non-negotiable for them. If their religious scriptures ask them or impose upon them to carry out jihad, they have to. It's it's obligatory. It's non-negotiable. The report also criticized reverential study of different religions as envisaged in the scheme. It took particular exception to the idea that all religions had an essential unity when it came to their fundamental precepts. Instead, asserted that there are many essentials of Islam which are exclusively Islamic and which cannot be harmonized with the teaching of other religions. Now, here you have it. A lot of people will constantly keep on regurgitating this lie. I mean, at least check your facts before you speak something. So a lot of people in our country have this disease of unnecessarily secularizing everything. They'll say that all religions are equal, no religion teaches violence. Look at their texts. They explicitly teach violence. Okay. Now here they're saying that no, we are not like all other religions. We are different. And this was essentially the argument that the Muslim League made in opposition to the Varda scheme. Now what was Varda scheme asking them to do? To teach unity of religions. But what was Muslim League opposing? No, we are not like other religions, we are different. Now this has translated into Muslim exceptionalism in our country's politics, especially national politics. Because just because they are Muslims, they have to be treated separately. Okay, and you can see that over here. This is what they think. Alright, let's look at, this is one more quote. Now over here, about the heroes. I think this is an age-old debate that we have had in our country. We still don't agree on who our heroes, who our national heroes are. Okay, let's read. Okay, this is in 1930s. The Muslim League is arguing. The Pirpur report came down most heavily on the history syllabus. That is why history is a controversial topic in our country. That Amir Khusro, Kabir, Akbar, Dara Sikho, even Akbar does not fit this, had been held up as Muslim heroes simply because they attempted to forge a synthesis with Hinduism, while Muslim heroes with Islamic outlook who had made seminal contributions to Islamic history or Muslim society had been ignored. So the Pirpur committee had a problem with history syllabus. Why? Because the heroes, the Muslim heroes that were included in the history syllabus were Amir Khusro, Kabir, Dara Sikho. Okay, Akbar does not deserve that place over there because people are not really aware about what Akbar has done. So even if you give a sanitized version of Akbar, I would not accept him as a national hero. So let alone, let's keep him aside. Let's focus on Amir Khusrav, Kabir, and Dara Sikho. These people were somewhat sympathetic towards the polytheists. Okay. Now the Varda scheme, they recommended that these people should be promoted as Muslim heroes. Now the Muslim League had problem with it. They thought that they were not the real heroes. Who were the real heroes? Who had an Islamic outlook, such as people like Aurangzeb. They ought to have been glorified as Islamic heroes in the history syllabus. Now, on top of that, they had a problem. The syllabus also held guilty for glorifying only heroes such as Harshvardhan, Prithviraj, Shivaji, and Ranjit Singh. They had also had a problem with them being glorified as heroes. Why? Because they are the ones who fought for Dharma. They are the ones who fought these people whom they considered as heroes. Next up, this is also one more thing at the end. The syllabus on social studies was also deemed un-Islamic. The Pirpur report condemned it for subordinating love for religion to the love of the motherland. Like I said, this concept of motherland, this concept of holy land is exclusive to our dharma. Okay, none of these monotheistic faiths that claim to be the word of God have this concept of motherland. Okay, so for them, the love of faith trumps the love of motherland. But for us, love of motherland is supreme. You know why? Because dharma, the orifice from which dharma springs out is the motherland. Okay, which it claimed was against the tenets of Islam. They thought that this idea of nationalism or having a motherland is against the tenets of Islam. This is in 1937 we are talking about. If you are very politically aware about what is going on in our country right now, you would know that they are still fighting on these principles. They still don't sing Vande Mataram. They're still stuck in that mindset of 1930s and 1920s. So if you are under that impression that the world has been modernized and nobody is talking about these things, believe me, they are talking about these things. They are still fighting these things. Okay. It also expressed strong opposition against music and dance in the syllabus, as also the celebration of Hindu holidays, which are deemed to be in serious conflict with the Islamic way of life. Obviously, they had a problem. Next, now this again comes the idea of language. I think language is a carrier. Yes, language is a carrier of culture. Without language, you have no culture. So we've had Sanskrit, and Sanskrit has given birth to a lot of our vernaculars. We've had languages in the Dakshin Bharat region, that is Tamil, and I think Tamil has given birth to other languages in Dakshin Bharat, if I'm not wrong. But yes, we've had our own languages, and these languages are carriers of our culture. So if you speak these languages, in a way you are practicing the culture. अगर मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ और अगर હું ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરું છું, તો it means that I am carrying forward that culture. Why? Because that language itself is carrying that culture. So what were these people promoting? That no, we will not speak your language, we'll only speak Urdu, because apparently to them Urdu was the carrier of the supposed Islamic culture. Okay, so here Fazlul Haq warned that unless Bengalis adopted Urdu for primary religious instruction, their boys and girls would be de-Muslimized. So even if you speak vernacular languages, you are moving far away from Islam through the anti-Islamic influences of the local environment. Linguistically and culturally, they were cut off from the rest of the Muslim India due to their lack of proficiency in Urdu. Okay, so in a way, it was they were basically opposing don't speak the vernaculars, don't consider the heroes, other heroes, don't consider the principles of non-violence. In a way, they were setting up these routes for the eventual partition, because since now they had conceptualized this dream of a nation state that was exclusive to Islam, since Turkey had fallen, now these were explicit steps that they were taking to materialize this dream, to realize these dreams, and to uh, make it come into reality. And I think indeed they succeeded in 1947 with a lot of violence. Yeah. So this is so far I have managed to read this book, and I'll share my further findings in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.